Hi, so welcome again to civilera.com. You are probably aware that Civilera has a couple of forums where you can keep discussing various doubts and other technical aspects. So one forum that we have is dedicated to our students who are enrolled for the courses, and one forum is open to general public. So here there is one question that has been posted in one of our course forum, which I thought is worth sharing with general students so that it is beneficial for everybody. So Vijay Kumar asks here, beam center, column center and external brick wall centers are different. That is, wall load acts as an eccentric load onto the beam since it is on edge of the beam. Center line of beam and columns are different. In this case, how will this eccentricity is captured or modeled in ETABS? So this is a very basic question. I will attend to that in this video today. Hi everyone, this is Premjit here, structural consultant and founder of civilera.com. So coming to the question that Vijay has asked here, he has also clarified it in terms of a figure here for everyone's understanding. So if you see here, this is what he asks. Say the width of the beam is around 450 and your wall, which is 230, is on one of the edge. So is that not going to create a torsion in the beam? That is probably the question, and that is what we are going to attend here. So this is the way the beam is having the walls on that, and his question is, see, this is the center of the beam and your wall is at the edge of the beam. So how do we account for this situation? Now, in most of the cases, ETABS cannot directly replicate this case. And second point that I want to tell you is that it is not always needed to capture this because it's a minor shift. Anyways, I will first attend to the situation and I will tell you why it is difficult to handle the situation, and then I will tell you why it is not needed to attend in all or in most of the cases. So here, in most of the cases, we model beams as a stick. Now when I say stick, it is only the line or the length that we are modeling. If you look at any of your definition, you would have understood that we are only modeling the length of the beam. The width and the depth, we are always going to assign it to the member. Or in other words, if I can open ETABS and show you, it would be something like this. So if you are defining here section properties, frame sections, you will always be defining your depth and width. You are not modeling it. When you are modeling it, you are simply taking a draw command and then say draw beam and then say draw beam. When you do this, whatever you are modeling, beam or column, whatever, in a situation like this, when you are modeling, it is just the line or the length that you are modeling, which means that your width and depth are assigned by you. So in your physical model, you don't have these dimensions modeled. Now when you have not modeled the beam as a solid element, then how do you replicate this particular eccentricity? It is not possible. Even if you model your beam as a shell, shell thin, if you model it like this, as a shell thin here in elevation, even then the thickness of the wall or the shell you are actually assigning and you are not modeling. You are not modeling a solid model. Even in the case of shell, you are only modeling 2 dimensions. So to make it clear, I will again take the ETABS model and then come to the rear side maybe to show you that more clearly. So if I want to model a beam here, you already know that even though you have drawn a beam here, it is only having the length model. The width and the depth is in fact assigned. So even if you display that, or if I come to general and then say extrude frames, it will show a width and depth here, but that doesn't necessarily means that you have modeled it. You have modeled it as a center line stick or a line, and you have assigned or you have told that it has this property. Now that is the reason when you go to section properties and frames, and then when you check one of it, you can see that its inertia, everything is going to be calculated, and then you have the option to modify this. So that's purely based on the assignment that you have done based on this figure. So if you check here, show section properties, you have the calculation here, all your inertial value, BDQ by 12, all these are calculated here based on what you have applied or what you have defined here. So what you have is a line element. Now, even if you model this as a shell, I will just show you that too, so that it's very clear to you. So I will come here and then say object, don't extrude that, and then let us replicate this down maybe. So I will slightly rotate this for more clarity. Maybe even we can take only that region. So I will take plinth level, and then maybe I will take this particular area, and then selected objects only. So if I go to the 3D view, and if I try to model a shell there, I will just switch off the horizon, and it could be a wall or a spandrel or whatever, a shell I'm going to model. So I will say edit and copy, edit and say paste, and I'm going to take it down by 600 millimeters. So delta Z minus 0.6 and then say 0.6. So in all the levels it came. If you want it only in one level, you can do that. I will make it one floor and then say slab, and let us define a slab, or take a slab which is a shell. So slab sections and see 120 shell. So this maybe we can make it to 230, because what we are looking at is a 230 wide beam or a 450 wide beam, whatever it is. So I'm going to make it as 230 and say OK. Now let us model that, and if I model this as a shell, you can even now see that it is only having the length and the depth modeled. It is not having the thickness modeled here. It is only assigned. So let it be a pier, let it be a spandrel, let it be a slab that is modeled as a shell here now to make it like a beam. Whatever it is having length and depth now. Its thickness is not yet assigned. Now what I want to convey is, whatever you do, then you cannot get this face modeled in ETABS until and unless it is a solid, and we are not modeling solid in ETABS or in any software for a building structure. Now if you are not able to model this particular width, then how are we going to able to define this? Yeah, so that's the first question. So in case if you want to really define this, the only possibility is find the weight of this particular wall and then multiply with this lever arm, this distance center to center, and if I call it as E, and if the weight is W kilonewton per meter, that multiplied by that E is going to give you a rotation or a moment, and that you can apply on the beam in case if you want to, but that's not needed. The reason is simple. One is that it is very less in magnitude. Even if you consider 10 or 11 or even 12 as your load on the beam, that multiplied by this eccentricity. So if your wall is 230 and if your beam is also 230 or 300, then the difference between this is very minor. So that is a very minor distance, and the total moment or the torsion that you get will be fairly ignorable. Second thing that I would say is, your beam is rigid. So whatever you apply at this point is going to eventually get transferred onto the center, as your assumption is that it is a rigid member. Now another reason that I would say that it is not needed to be considered is simply because you generally have the slab behind which will resist the torsion of your beam. So if I draw something like this, assume that you have a column here, and column here, and column here. I'm just drawing, and if I cut a section like this here, what you have is a beam and then a slab, and you have something like this. Now if this beam tries to rotate, then this slab is going to pull this back in position. There are two reasons for not considering this particular torsion. One is that the slab is going to give it a rigidity, it's going to pull it back, so there is going to be a tie action from this slab behind. Second thing is that if you ignore that torsion, that will be having an alternate load path. It's like a redistribution, so it will find its own alternate load path and then get magnified as an additional moment or shear force, which I have already mentioned in one of our blogs. So if you are keen to understand what is compatibility torsion and what is equilibrium torsion and why the compatibility torsion can be ignored. So compatibility torsion can be ignored and only equilibrium torsion needs to be considered. So if and only if it is an equilibrium case, then it needs to be attended to. So if you want to understand more about what is equilibrium torsion and all that, you can simply go to www.civilerra.com and then get into our blogs. I have already done a blog there, civilerra.com blog. You can go there and find it. So that's one of the first blog that I have done, so it should be down below the website. In the blog section you will be able to find that. So if you come down here, it is economic design versus compromise. If you check here, you will get the entire information about torsion. So I told you 3 reasons for ignoring this particular case, or 3 reasons that may not make this critical. 1, it is ignorable because the amount of torsion is so less. Second thing is, in most of the cases it will be a compatibility torsion where your torsion need not be accounted for. For understanding that reason, you can refer the blog that I mentioned. And third thing is that it is not really possible to replicate that because of modeling, and we are not modeling the beam as a solid. And in case if you want, for whatever reasons, if you want to capture that, the only way that you can do is by calculating that value manually and then inputting it here in this manner. So that's it from me about this question today, and I hope you had a good learning about this particular question. See you very soon with another question or a blog or a vlog. Until then, it's bye from Civilerra. Thank you for watching.